I'm Pika sir. So today I am uploading the another one chapter from the part 2 history book. Okay, an imperial capital Vijayanagar Empire. Followed. So let's start the chapter. So in this chapter there are basically some kind of words you have to remember that, like the Rayas, Nayakas and the Sultans. As you all know that Harihar and Bukka, two brothers, founded this dynasty, Vijayanagara dynasty, or you can say the empire, in the year of 1336, right? And in this Vijayanagara empire, kings and trading classes, they all always dependent on the powerful cavalry, because they had to fight with other enemies, and because Vijayanagara empire located in very strategic positions, so that's why everyone tried to capture. Now, point number 3 is that the climax and the decline of the Vijayanagar Empire. In this point, we will discuss about the reasons for the declines of the Vijayanagar Empire. Then we will talk about the Vijayanagara Hampi architecture. Okay, several kind of very important architectural features you can find out if you go to the if you visit the Hampi. Okay, then we'll talk about the Hampi Bazaars, where Portuguese travelers, when came here and written down about the city of the Hampi. Then we'll talk about the buildings and the palaces. That is also, was another very important parts. Then we'll talk about the king's royal enclosures. That means, important buildings, which was and which is right now the remnant parts at Hampi. Then we'll talk about the Mahanavami Dibba. It is a very important, you can say that, important architecture. From here we can get the informations regarding them, how they were developed, and how they developed themselves in these sections. Then the last things we'll talk about the forts of the Vijayanagar Empire. That means the city was divided, as you all know that, and how the trading classes and the fortified settlements. So different kind of things are included. So according to this way, I have divided these PowerPoint presentations. Followed? So these are the key concepts. Now we'll talk about the history of the Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara means the city of victory. Okay, in the name of the both a city as an empire also. And this empire already was, I have told you, that founded in the year of 1336 by Harihar and the Bukka, and it was continued up to 17th to 18th centuries. Okay. Now the question is that the discovery of the Hampi. Okay, actually the ruins of the Hampi were brought light in 1800 by an English engineer, and he was also an antiquarian. His name was Colonel Colin Nakanje, right? He was an officer, so he came here for the surveying map of this particular site. So he collected much more information, and he also received the informations from the different priests in different temples, like the Virupaksha temples. Followed. Now, the next thing is that who was Rayas, Nayakas, and Sultanas. According to the traditions and what kind of inscriptions, epigraphical evidences we have found, I have told you that 1336 this Vijayanagara Empire was founded, and that they spoke different languages, followed different religious traditions, and the contemporary Vijayanagara ruler of the Vijayanagara ruler was sultans in the Deccan, like Vijapur, Golconda, and Ahmednagar, and another one is that Gajapati dynasty in Odisha, right? And they were basically dependent on the warfare activities, because not dependent, actually they were engaged in the warfare activities, because this area was too fertile and everyone tried to capture and conquer. Followed. So that's why they also dependent on the powerful cavalry, and they brought different breeding horses, from the Middle East Asia. And Portuguese also settled down here, so we got some information about the Portuguese, right? So then we'll talk about the trading in the Vijayanagar Empire. Vijayanagar are also very famous for the trading actually, and it's also noted that they traded spices, textile, precious stones, even in that time it's been the culture that and more for it. Now we'll talk about the climax or apogee and decline of the empire. Actually, the first, as you all know, that in Vijayanagara dynasty or Vijayanagara empire, fourth dynasty was ruling, was ruled. So the first dynasty was Sangama dynasty, and it was existed up to 1485, 1336 to 1485. Okay. Then second dynasty was Salubhas dynasty. They ruled 1485 to 1503. Okay. Then came Tulabhas dynasty, 1503 to I think 1565. So Krishnadeva Raya, one of the not one of the greatest king of the Vijayanagara Empire, belonged to this Tulabhas dynasty, and his characters, his ruling way, or that how he was great. Okay, how he consolidated the power. All that things are included in this chapter. Actually, Krishnadeva Raya is credited for the buildings, constructions, fine temples. Even he added another one features in the South Indian temple, as that is the Gopurama, or you can say the entry gate in the temples. Okay. Then after 1545 or 1530, the internal strain began, because after the Krishnadeva Raya death, 1529, the successors were not able to control and to continue their legacy. So during this period, the military ambitions of the Deccan Sultanates resulted the shifting alignments. That means sometimes the dynasties were ruled in a very small area or sometimes in a very big area. So in that way, finally, in the year of 1565, as you all know, that Ramaraya was the last ruler. He was destroyed, and he was killed, and the whole city was destroyed and deserted by the southern Deccan sultans. In this way, climax and decline will happens. Now, to whom you will call the Rayas and the Nayakas? Actually, Rayas, it was a Telugu form. The kings of that particular area was known as the Rayas. And the Nayakas. Nayakas actually were known as the military chiefs. They were actually military commanders, and they controlled the forts. They had the army, and they moved from one place to another places. And in many cases, actually, they protected and during the warfare times, these Nayakas helped the king, to give the soldiers of the army. They basically speak, Telugu or Kannada language. And in this time, many Nayakas submitted the authority, submitted their loyalty to the kings of the Vijayanagar. But sometimes rebelled also we have seen. Okay. Now we'll talk about the one innovative system. That system was invented by the Krishnadeva Raya. And this system was known as the Amaranayaka systems. It was a major political innovation, you can say, and definitely it was another form of the Iqtadari system, you can say, because in that time Amara that the Nayakas always started to revolt if the king was weak. So Krishnadeva Raya did that. This Nayaka system became transferable. That means after 5 years or 6 years, uh, Nayakas transferred from one place to another place. So in this way, king tried to cut down the powers. Okay, cut down the powers and the strength of the Nayaka. So this is a very innovative system, you can say. Even that the contingents provided the Vijayanagar king with an effective fighting force with which they brought the entire southern peninsula under their control. Actually, in this way, Amaranayaka sent tribute to the kings. So in that way, king could know that this Nayakas was under control of me, and they were listening the voice of the kings. Okay, so during the warfare time. Nayakas or the military commanders had to, send the army to help the country, to help the kings actually. But after the 17th century or during the 17th century, many Nayakas, established independent kingdom. Basically, after the date of the Krishnadeva Raya. Okay. So, in that way, we have seen that several independent nations emerge, or dynasties, not nations, dynasty emerge after the death of the Chisnavaraya. And finally, the 1565, the Ramada when was killed by the three sultans like Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, and then finally we have seen the ruin of the Hampi. So this is the little short gist of this Vijayanagara Empire up to page 175. Next day, I'll conclude this chapter. I 16 September. I will conclude this chapter through video lessons. Okay. So hope you have understood. So regarding this matter, if you have any problems, any queries, or if you didn't understand, please tell me, and you can inform me on my WhatsApp numbers. Alright. So thank you very much. Stay happy and stay safe.